right, well, our next guest is the New York representative of Blacks in Law Enforcement of America. We welcome Damon K. Jones to the show. Damon, thanks for making it.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Let's just talk about your organization.
Okay.
What does your organization do?
We're a national organization of Black law enforcement professionals, and what we do is our main purpose is try to build a relationship between the African American community and law enforcement, and try to inform the people of their rights, try to encourage young people, young minorities to become law enforcement professionals, whether you're police, corrections, sheriffs, court officers, parole, or probation.
Now, why is your organization so important? What is there a lack of respect from the African American community, the Black community? Why do you feel it's so important to have your community around?
Historically, there's always been an adverse relationship between law enforcement and the African American communities, all the way back to the civil rights movement. Our organization, like many other Black law enforcement organizations, grew out of the civil rights movement, the Black Power movement. And what we want to do is we want to protect our community, and we also want to have people trust law enforcement and have a good relationship.
You know, it looks like, to me, it ebbs and flows.
Yes.
Sometimes there's the trust, and
Right.
then an incident happens, and the flame starts, and then all of a sudden, it starts spiraling down. Am I correct?
Well, yes.
Up and down, but it's almost like a sine curve.
Well, when the media, a lot of times the media likes to address, the big national issues, but there's always been an adverse relationship. There's always been a lack of African Americans throughout the country in the profession, whether you're police, corrections, or sheriffs, or any profession.
Why?
Like that.
Why do you think?
Because of the historical relationship. As a Black law enforcement officer, I've been racial profiled, and
So someone might say, why would I want to go into that field?
Right.
Look what they've done to me and my family, that type of thing.
And you're right, because my wife is a detective in Mount Vernon, and we have 2 children in their 20s, and they want nothing to do with the law enforcement profession, because what they have experienced coming up as young people and seeing the lack of accountability when law enforcement officers cross the line, they don't want to be a part of the institution.
Well, what made you decide to get involved?
Well, I had family.
Okay.
I had family, and I grew up in the era of community policing, where police they lived in the community, and they were stakeholders in the community. I was coached by 2 white police officers, Mike and Ray Turnbull, from 5th grade to 10th grade in Jazz Club football. So the relationship was different. Right nowadays, police don't live in the community they serve. So they don't have that relationship with the community, and they're not stakeholders.
My law partner, my father, grew up in the Bronx, and not from very much in terms of means, and was always at the Police Athletic League, just boxing or whatever it took.
Right.
And he developed such a respect for the police.
Right.
And I think it's because the local community really embraced the police. He knew who the police on the beat was.
Right.
It was a nice, a give and take there.
Right. Right.
And I think that's important.
It is. To solving crimes is important.
Sure.
I don't.
If they trust, I guess they give you some information.
And that's right. But nowadays, police management, advise police officers not to live in the community, and I think that's really nonsense.
Why?
I'm still trying to figure that out, because it breaks the relationship. It builds the trust. My wife is born and raised in Mount Vernon. She's a detective in Mount Vernon, and when things go down, she gets a call. Because people trust her and they know her. And that's the way law enforcement should be in their community. What
seems to be the biggest issues that you're dealing with right now in terms of building that trust? How do you...
Accountability.
Was it the stop and frisk that had to get rid of that?
It's not even a stop and frisk. It's accountability. When they see a law enforcement officer cross the line, and there's no accountability of that law enforcement officer, and he gets to retire with a full pension, and there's no suspension or any type of punishment to that law enforcement officer.
It gives a bad taste.
It gives a bad taste. So, and they talk about no snitching, right? So no snitching is no different than the blue wall of silence.
Right.
So if law enforcement turn over their bad guys, maybe the community would turn over their bad guys, and maybe we could start from there.
Any tips you would give somebody who's watching right now who is not necessarily trusting of law enforcement? What would you say to do? Obviously, not go to your local precinct and just start shaking hands with those behind the counter. But what would you say? Maybe
if you run across those type of law enforcement officers that decide to abuse their power, you can make, I mean, some police departments, they have a complaint online, or you could contact your local NAACP. You could contact our organization. There's different civil rights organizations in the community that they can contact.
Your organization, where do we find your organization?
You can find us online, www.BLEAUSA.org. We're also on Facebook, Blacks in Law Enforcement of America, and we're also on Twitter, BLEA USA.
All right, lastly,
yes.
Any legislation or anything that you're pushing or putting forth at all that to maybe help some kind of bridge the gap between the community and the law enforcement? Or
well, as far as legislation, we're really pushing for an independent prosecutor in questionable police crimes.
Why?
Because we believe the DA's office is too close to the police department. In some counties throughout New York State is an incestuous relationship because they may be married by relations or they may be brothers and sisters. People transfer from police department to police department, and the DA's office rely on the police departments to solve crimes. So how can we actually think they won't be biased in investigating their own?
I think you're right.
Thank you.
Can we do me a favor? You come back here?
Yes, sir. Anytime. Yes, sir.
All right, well, that's all for today. It's time to deliberate. I'd like to thank all of our guests for joining us, and of course, you for watching. Remember, if there is a legal issue or topic you would like to see on the show, email me at davidlesch@bronxit.org. And until we see you again, always remember, know your rights, know your issues, reach a verdict. We'll see you next time.